Hello and welcome. Thank you for taking the time. Today's conspiracy theory. Now, irrespective of how COVID came into being, the how, what, why, when, and where, because we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. And also these days, whoever dares open their mouth about it gets taken down instantly or receives a warning or their video gets deleted. So we'll leave it as it is. But the outcome was global recession and a standstill economy. No attention towards people and small business. Of course, it was a unique situation where each government, each country had their own idea of tackling this with this problem. Now, the first thing that was impacted, of course, after the lockdown, was supply and demand, the supply chain. The first thing that got impacted was, as a result of that, was oil prices. Disruption in logistics due to lockdowns created a shortage of oil, where you must have heard like there are oil tankers that are lined up and nobody's there to empty them because there's no transportation, there's no movement at all. Now, by that time, the big businesses they had started feeling the pinch. We haven't even gotten to the part where the small businesses come in. Now, the money had stopped moving, so what happened was the small businesses started closing first because they were impacted, and people were staying home. Of course, if you don't have any workers, business cannot run, and of course the small businesses will get impacted first. Now, the governments, of course, came in around the world, but I'm going to talk about specifically North America. Canada being the first started the stimulant package where they were giving free money to their citizens, which is a big questionable thing, but we'll come to that later. Now, the stimulus did not start until the big businesses started suffering, and they started pressurizing the government that, hey, we need to stay open, we need our people, we need our workers. So they were given a different treatment, they were given different preference. You can stay open, people can come in with masks, and you can stay open. But for small businesses, this was very different. They were not allowed to open at all. And of course, this impacted them. And another thing that impacted when the stimulus started coming in, that was for a lot of people more than what they were making. So this encouraged the sense that, okay, I can make more money by just sitting home, so I'll just quit. Hey, I'm not coming. So a lot of people quit their jobs, which created a serious shortage of labor in the market, which of course killed the small businesses further. Now, the big corporations, we first need to understand why this stimulus thing started in the first place, who it got to eventually. The big corporations, they were not satisfied and they wanted more, so because the business is still running a bit shaky. So more money started flowing towards them in the form of stimulus. Of course, when you got the stimulus check, where would you be spending it? Most of the people went online, started ordering food, ordering stuff for delivery. When they were out, they were spending stuff on the big box stores because the small businesses, small convenience stores, all of those were closed or were forced to stay shut. And then the people started noticing that the corporations are gobbling up the stimulus funds and still letting go of staff in the name of restructuring and atrocity measures. So the government is providing big box stores or big corporations a separate amount of money under the table, unannounced, and yet they were still downsizing. The money that the government was providing is in good faith that you'll get to keep your employees and pay them, which should have been the case with small businesses. Instead of paying people directly and encouraging them to stay home, why not pay the businesses where they work, whether big or small, without any discrimination? This would have first cut the government's cost. Like, imagine paying your whole population almost at a rate of $2,000 to $2,200 a month each. Instead, you could have paid the businesses, where the pay rate would have stayed steady, economy would have stayed steady, and the businesses would flourish as well, or they would stay afloat. It would be easier to get a return, because businesses cannot just take the money and then in the end, either they had to declare bankruptcy, for which a running business, it's literally suicide. For individuals, they'll just say, we don't have the money anymore, we cannot return it, which is another thing. So eventually all that money was flowing back to these big corporations. Now, for this, in the end, when you see during COVID, during the lockdowns, the big businesses, they didn't suffer as much. I'm talking about the profits that they made. They had no problem in announcing them. By adopting this innovative method, the competition was eliminated on one side. On the other hand, all the money that was given out in stimulus was eventually flowing to all those big corporations, because they were the ones who were only allowed to stay open and let the people shop there. And due to shortage of that, a lot of material in the market started becoming even shorter, like people couldn't find, like something like toilet paper. Panic buying was encouraged as well. Now, this also achieved another goal: inflation. All the basic necessities were fulfilled. Printing trillions of dollars, lowest interest rates, disruption of supply and demand. But what we did not realize, that all this money was eventually ending up with the big box stores and corporations. It wasn't actually stimulating the economy the way it was intended to. Amazon was up by about 100%. Grocery chains up to 300%. Some of the big box stores in the US saw their profits go up by 300%. Where the ordinary person was to return that stimulus in the form of taxes, the corporations got to keep all of it, because all the money, not only they got handouts from the government, but they got the money which the people spent in return for getting all of it from the government. Of course, the stocks were plummeting a year ago, like if you remember in 2020. But after that, when people started getting money, of course they got disposable income as well, where a lot of people were playing with the government, where they got it incorrectly. They were not supposed to apply for that, but the government wasn't questioning it. They were just giving that money away. So the flow of money kept flowing in one direction and one direction only. Other parties that were involved in moving the stimulus money made this into a chance to fill their pockets as well, like the politicians, bureaucrats, etc. But now all those chicken are coming home to roost, and the politicians are doing what they do best: make promises that they will make all of this go away if they win the next election. But till then, we have to brave it through. Now, there's a much more sinister plan behind this, which will be part of my next conspiracy theory in my next video. But for now, thanks for sticking by. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all your support and comment. Please follow and subscribe for more if you like what you see. Till next time, bye for now.